Okay, good morning again to everyone. This is Danita, and we're gonna start our meeting for March the 28th, the City of St. Louis Workforce Development Board. So with that being said, Svetlana, can you do roll call, please?
Absolutely. Our secretary is not attending today, so I'll sit in for him. Catherine Jocelyn,
Present.
Lydia Padilla,
Here.
Corey Elliott,
Present.
Lakeisha Mathis,
Here.
Stacy Fowler, Stacy, I know you're here. You're on mute.
He's on mute.
I am here.
Very good, Stacy. Jerry Bowles, not here. Henry Johnson.
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning.
Excellent, excellent, sir. Julie Ficus.
I'm present.
Wonderful. Sal Valadez is not here. Sherry Tillis.
Present.
Very good, Sherry. Kimberly Chaplin.
Here.
Great. Mary Lammy is not here. Tambra Cross. Tambra Cross. Say something, please. I see you waving. Oh, you're on the phone, but I see you. I'll say yes. Crystal Heron. No. Justin Bennett.
Present.
Excellent. Good morning. John Stifler. Not here. Paul Smith. Not here. Michael Martina. Not here. Regina Greer. Not here. Danita Neal.
Present.
Good morning again. Michelle Graham.
Present.
Good morning. Roger Spearman.
Present.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Justin Raimonda.
Present.
Very good. Good morning. Yusnail Haberberger.
Present.
Good morning. Susan Agan.
Present.
Very good. And let me count everyone. We have 17, Ms. Chair, so the quorum has been reached.
Great. Thank you, Svetlana. So we'll go right into our agenda. I'm not sure if everyone has it pulled up. So Svetlana, is it okay if you share your screen with us?
Absolutely. Can you all see it?
Yes. I can see it.
Looks good.
Okay, great. So we're going to start the meeting off with a slate member spotlight. And today we have Allison Pittman. So Allison, if you're on, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. How's everybody?
Great.
My name is Allison Pittman, and I am new to the Slate team, and I am so happy to be here to be able to serve our citizens of the city of St. Louis.
Yeah.
You want to
Okay.
tell a little bit about yourself and what you do, Ms. Pittman?
Well, I am on the executive team here at Slate. I have been hired as the clerk typist. I am currently working on a few programs here at Slate. I have taken over the Gateway Go program, and it is very active and very positive. We're getting a great output of people coming by, taking advantage of that program. It is very fluid and very active. I am also in the community, connecting with the teenagers and the students, getting them ready for our big push for summer employment. So we have a lot of activities going on here at Slate, and we are busy every day doing the work of the people.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Allison, and welcome to the team. We greatly appreciate your service. So next on the agenda is the board member spotlight. And we have Corey Elliott. Corey,
Okay, so I just introduced myself and what I do and all that great stuff.
that'll be great.
Okay, well, Corey Elliott, founder and CEO of CMT. Originally, we started as CMT Roofing in January of 2012. We added demolition shortly after that, maybe 5-6 years ago, and abatement about a year after that. We have probably at this point worked on every major project in and around the city. I always like to highlight that we did the copper domes at St. Louis Lambert Airport. It was a project that I was very excited about being a part of, being a lifetime St. Louis. And I leave, and like I tell people, the arch is actually a magnet and keeps pulling you back. But that was a project that hadn't been done for 50 years and won't be done for another 50 years. So it was just really, really exciting to be a part of that. We've worked on Delmar Divine, the new YMCA, Last Hotel, like I said, pretty much every major project, NGA, in and around the city. In the last couple of years, we've really pivoted from being a subcontractor to really more as a construction manager, a program manager, and general contracting. And we also open offices close to here, but in Champaign and Chicago. So it's a really, really exciting time to be in construction in St. Louis. A lot of people who know me know that I also have a passion for workforce and bringing more people in the trades, specifically women, formerly incarcerated people, and people who look like me. And so that's been a big, big, big push of mine and will continue to be. So again, thank you guys for allowing me to serve on this board. And I'm really, really excited about what we can do for the city and for the workforce.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Corey, for that information. Thank you. So the next we have is that Henry Johnson. I understand he's retiring, so we would like to thank him for his service and serving on the board. And Henry, since you're here, would you like to have anything to say?
Well, it's been a pleasure and an honor serving the citizens of the city of St. Louis, as well as a member of the Slate board. And I really appreciate the time and effort that the board has spent making sure the residents of the city of St. Louis have been served properly. And I look forward to good things from the board moving forward.
Oh, great. Thank you again, Henry, for your service, and enjoy your retirement. We appreciate you. So next we have on the agenda is the presentation. So who's Ms. Daniels, Ms. Rochelle, if you're ready for the presentation, we're ready to listen.
Thank you. I was going to say, yes, I'm ready, and then my throat seized. Okay, so we're ready, and we're going to be talking about oversight and monitoring today. And that's because oversight and monitoring happens in the background, but when things are not right, then they don't allow the things that are important to the board and important to the staff and important to the mayor to happen with the smoothness we like them to happen. And so I know at our last board meeting, you were all told, or maybe it's on this meeting, that we have finally resolved all of our audit issues from 2019. And we want to keep it that way going forward. And so what is the purpose of effective grants and oversight? Well, the purpose is, number one, accountability. Number two, transparency. Number three, to make sure our program goals are accomplished. And number four, to make sure that we meet performance, whatever that performance might be. And under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, the board has a specific role with respect to oversight. Not that we expect you to go out and physically monitor the programs, but that you would make sure that we are providing monitoring over our program operations, over our program implementation, that we're reporting the results to you, that we're reporting how we spend our money, And that in general, monitoring is about keeping a watchful eye over the funds and the grants. Our board members, all of you, you are external experts. And oversight is also a part of continuous improvement. And we bring you things at the committee level and at the board level because you may have some input that would be very important to us. Because continuous improvement is about strategic and operational oversight of our one-stop system in collaboration with our legislative one-stop partners, and also about helping to achieve both our goals and the state's strategic and operational vision and goals. We're supposed to be a kind of aligned with and walking in tandem with the state as it's moving forward, so we're moving in the same direction. While the board has a responsibility for oversight, the staff also has a responsibility. And one of the things that we do at the staff level is we review the state, the U.S. Department of Labor, our grantor agencies, monitoring tools. All these places monitor us, and we look to see what questions they're asking. We look to see what our required performance is, which might be in the regulations or might be in a grant document. We review compliance requirements, not to scare you, but apart from WIOA, which is about 800 pages or so, and the regs, another 800,000 pages, we also have something called the Uniform Guidance, which is another 1,000 pages of what we need to do to be able to spend money correctly. And so your staff are your experts, and they are very well versed in the compliance requirements, and so they can keep us moving in a healthy direction. We also look at any previous findings. Nobody is mistake proof. And so when the state comes in, or when our monitors come in, or our QA staff comes in, and they identify things that are findings for us, not only do we take corrective action, but we also look to make sure it's not systemic, that it's not a problem that's going to keep happening over and over and over again, because while we correct a finding, we're not correcting the underlying reason for the finding. And we look at all of these things and we develop a monitoring plan. And our staff, our quality assurance staff, monitors our programs, and our external monitors, our CPA firm, monitors our fiscal. And when they generate reports, and when the reports come out, what's very important is that if there is a finding, we take the appropriate corrective action. And pretty much for somebody who's resolved audits all over the country, what I can tell you is when you find something amiss in a program year, that's between July 1 and June 30th, you can almost 100% of the time correct something within a program year. It's when the program year closes and all of our reports are in, then when we have to try and fix something, it becomes a lot more difficult. So we try to be very watchful so we can fix things as they might occur. Good monitoring will confirm compliance with grant terms and conditions. For our contracts for EDSI, for example, make sure that they are actually providing the activities they promised to in the contract that they sign. And also, just as I said a moment ago, that we can identify any kind of early warning sign of trouble or non-compliance and take swift corrective action. And let me give you an example of something you might not think about in terms of taking swift action. When providers don't fill their vacancies quickly enough, then it means people won't get served because there won't be anybody to serve them. Or if there's somebody, or if they are staffed in one end and not staffed with the other end, placement, let's say, for example, then people don't get placed. So it's not just the dollars and cents that we look at. We also look to see how the programs are being implemented. Are they staffed correctly? Is the staff properly trained? Do they know how to do things like eligibility determination and enter the right data into the state's data system? All of those are different processes that have to be watched.
Michelle, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Corey Elliott. Is there like a periodic monitoring or auditing so that we know in real time if there's an issue or not, or do we
Yes,
wait?
it's a great question. So we have a quality assurance staff whose job it is to actually monitor during the program year and report issues to Frederica, our director. And if something is systemic, she generally will bring it to you. If it's something that's a minor program issue, she'll take it to the provider and ask that it be corrected. Then the state comes in once a year and monitors us, and we put that monitoring report on your agenda. When it's done and when we've taken our corrective action, we report that to you. And also we are a part of the city's audit. So every year the city must audit its operations, and Slate, our department, and also all of our providers are a part of that audit, and our transactions are sampled within that audit. And the organization-wide audits that the city must comply with include both fiscal monitoring and compliance monitoring. So yes, we're monitoring more than we would like to be monitored, but we are monitored all the time. In addition to which, when we have discretionary grants like Youth Build, then the Department of Labor comes in and they like to do a monitoring during the period. And once we have the reports, which are not always as timely as the visit, we put those reports on the agenda so the board can see and know what's happening and know that we're taking the appropriate corrective action. So that was a great question. Okay. All right. So what are the basic processes of monitoring? Well, we collect and review data. We issue a report. We analyze the report, and then we take action based on that monitoring. And sometimes, by the way, monitoring is not just to find something wrong. For example, let's say we hear from our participants that they don't have appropriate funds to be able to pay for transportation and get to where they need to go. Well, that would be a different type of review that we would have to do to say, well, do we need to provide resources for Uber? Do we need to increase our transportation allowance for participants? Are we providing the things that the participants need to be able to actively participate in a program? So monitoring goes all the way from, does our program have the right components in it, to are we spending the money correctly? What should the board expect? Well, the board can expect reports. So just like you said, Ms. Elliott, we know we have internal quality assurance staff. We have external fiscal monitors that we contract with through a procurement. You will see a state monitoring report, usually once a year, sometimes it's a little bit later. We will report to you directly on contract deliverables. We require that EDSI provide us with a report on, I think it's a monthly basis, and we provide the collective reports to you so you know how they're doing with our funds. And we also have reports from the state on performance. Performance has to do with the federal performance measures that we negotiate with the state annually. And then we have reports on special grants. So all of those things do come before the board. What are some of the areas that require oversight? And this is not everything, but it's a smattering of things. It is our federal program performance. So we have performance measures. I'm going to tell you what they are at the end. And the board wants to make sure that we're spending our funds in a way that's going to make sure we meet performance. We have state training thresholds. For example, we must spend, I think, 50% of our funds on training. We have a waiver since the pandemic that it's 30%, but that's not in federal law. That's a state requirement. We owe a youth work experience threshold. We must spend 20% of our funds on internships for the youth. We have financial performance. That is, we file reports with the state and the federal government on a quarterly basis. They're called our SARA reports. And they want to know exactly what we're doing with the funds and how fast we're spending them. We have a code of conduct and ethics. So very often when we have to vote on an approval, we'll ask our board members, do any of you have a conflict of interest? And if you do, to please declare it and not to vote so we don't violate code of conduct and ethics rules. We also look at the one-stop. Is our one-stop doing what it's supposed to? I always tell board members, go ahead if you have a vacancy and list your jobs with our one-stop. And please tell us what happens. If you have a great experience, give us a testimonial. We'll put it on the website. And if your experience is not so good, come and talk to Freddie and let us know what we can do to improve so we can improve it for everyone. You are our experts. We also have one-stop certification required by the federal government and the state. We have board certification, and what board certification means is, do we have all the members we need to have in the right categories? We have compliance. Are we meeting the requirements of the law? Are we doing our monitoring on time? Are we doing our audit on time?
Yeah, I'm sorry to keep asking questions. What is one-stop certification?
Okay, so we deliver services to adults and dislocated workers and the universal population through what we call a one-stop career center. And in fact, if you are in person today at the board meeting, you would be at our offices where we actually have our one-stop career center. And the one-stop career center has services available for the universal population, all the way to individuals who may have a barrier to being able to find employment, and provide them with services as appropriate to what their needs are. And we also have a business unit that's focused on employer needs to make sure that we're producing a worker that's going to meet the skills needs of our employers. So when you need to hire roofers, or you need to hire people for demo, or you need to hire people that are going to be able to do construction, that they have the skills you need and are going to do a good job for you on your work site. When we look at program performance, we look at whether participants are receiving services. Are they getting case managed? Are they getting training? Are we spending funds in a reasonable fashion? So their taxpayer dollars, would the person on the street say, yes, that was a good expenditure of our funds? And are we applying our regulations properly? Are we determining people to be eligible correctly for different types of services or programs? Are we meeting the support service thresholds and requirements set by the state and their policies? And are we following up with people to make sure that after they leave the program, they're having a good result? And if they're not, we can step in and help them. We look at our fiscal requirements. You know, I just mentioned to you before that we have to spend 50% of our dollars on training, but now it's 30%. And also we look at the fact that during the course of the year, we need to spend 80% of our dollars because the feds only allow us to carry forward 20%. That has varied a little bit from year to year, but the law basically says you can keep 20% of your money and take it on to the next year, but you have to try to spend 80% of your dollars. So are we doing that? Are we spending 20% of our dollars on incumbent workers? So in the last few years, it has become very popular for local boards to upskill workers currently employed, because so many things have changed that somebody's workforce might need to be upskilled in order to do their job very well. And incumbent worker training doesn't require any kind of eligibility. And so we can spend up to 20% of our funds on incumbent worker training. We have set aside some dollars for incumbent worker training, and are we making sure we don't spend more than 20%? We also have match requirements for some of our activities. So for example, for on-the-job training, we can spend between 50 to 75% in employee wage reimbursement, but we can't spend more than that. So are we meeting the match requirements set by the federal government or by the state? We look at our financial performance. That is when we provide those SARA reports to the state. Sounds very romantic, SARA reports. They're not romantic at all. They're very detailed. And basically, they should actually match exactly what we're spending, because if it doesn't, somebody will come knocking on our door. Are we following generally accepted accounting principles? Not practices, sorry about that. Do we have internal controls in place? Do we have a separation of duties? So the person who's receiving goods and services is not the person who ordered them. Are we insuring our risks? Do we have the proper insurance in place? And we're lucky because being part of the city means the city has a risk management office that does look at what insurance is appropriate for our local area. And Becky, my partner in crime, who is from the solicitor's office at the city, also made sure that we have directors and officers insurance to cover all of our board members. And then are we also following our procurement requirements? Are we monitoring things like conflicts? You asked about our one-stop center. Well, we are required to have memorandum of understanding with all of our legislative one-stop partners. So we get the WIOA, dislocated worker, adult, and youth funds. We're co-located with our National Labor Exchange or Wagner-Pizer staff from the state that delivers universal services to employers and to job seekers. And then we have other partners as well, such as vocational rehabilitation, such as community service block grant, our veterans programs, Job Corps, if there was a Job Corps locally. So we have legislative partners identified in the law, and do we have the proper agreements with them as is required by law? Do we have an infrastructure agreement where they're contributing to the infrastructure of the one stop? Do we have, is our center over here on Market Street comprehensive? That is, all of our funding streams are represented in the center, even our partner funding streams, so we can give seamless services to people. Do we have a mechanism in place for cross referral? And by the way, we do have all of these things. In fact, I think at our meeting, we have Rebecca Ritter. She's our one-stop operator, and she helps to monitor and make sure we have all of these things in place. And this year is, I think, a certification year for our one-stop, or last year was, and we do have a certified one-stop that does meet all the state and federal requirements. And that is one of the jobs of our one-stop operator. We watch to make sure that she or he is doing their job. Okay. When we talk about board certification, I mentioned to you, of course, that we talked about the positions. And in fact, we even come to the board and ask you, is there somebody that you know that might be appropriate for the board? And we can move that up through the process. And if they're appropriate, move it to the mayor to see if that agrees with, if that's agreeable to the mayor for appointment. And also, one of the things that we do is there's an agreement you might not know about between the mayor and our board that says the mayor will do these things and the board will do these other things. And that's how our agendas are constructed. Whatever in that agreement says is going to come before the board ends up on the agenda for you all to approve or review. We also have performance measures to assess the impact and value of our programs, to demonstrate our programs' accountability, and to address the question of what are programs trying to accomplish and are they doing so. And to that effect, we look at the effectiveness in serving our employers through our WIOA Wagner-Pizer partnership. We look at retention with employers and other kinds of important performance measures. So here are our participant measures, just so that you know. We look to see whether people who came to us for services, received training or some other service are still working 6 months after they exit the program. We look to see whether, in fact, they're working 12 months after they exit the program, to see whether that program services has really enabled them to keep a job. If we had a youth who was placed into training, we look at, for youth, we don't only look at placements into jobs. We say the youth can be working or can be in education, and that's considered a good ending, a good exit for a youth. We also look to see whether that youth is still there in 12 months after exiting our programs, or whether that youth is in a job. So we have similar measures for adults, dislocated workers, and youth, but we measure their success in slightly different ways. For individuals that are working, adults, dislocated workers, and youth, we look at median earnings. And just by the way, vocational rehabilitation and adult basic education share these same measures. They are our core partners. They have the same measures. They just have different baselines, different formulas to determine whether they met the measure. We look whether people in training got a credential, and they can get that up to 1 year after they leave us. And if they're in training, are they doing well? That's like asking if you have a kid in school, you want to know, is my child making progress? If they're in elementary school, are they going to go from one grade to the next? If they're in high school, are they passing their courses? If they're in college, are they going to get that degree or that certificate? So we're measuring how their progress is, as well as whether or not they got their credential. And finally, we also have employer measures. And I just wanted to let you know that these employer measures are just being slid in now. We're not actually being measured against these measures yet, but we will be measured. And it looks at things like repeat business with customers, our employers coming back to use our services. Are we working with employers, and are they coming back 1 year and 3 years later? And do we have retention with the same employer when we match somebody? Does the person stay with that employer? So we'll be hearing more about those measures later on. So that is monitoring for you in a nutshell. Thank you, Ms. Elliott, for your questions earlier. And anybody else who has a question, I'm going to turn it back to our board chair. She can field the questions if there are any, and if not, feel free at any time to either email me or Freddie with your questions, and we'll be happy to answer. And have a great day and a great meeting. So back to you. Ms.
Thank
Neal.
you. Thank you, Ms. Rochelle, Ms. Daniels. Appreciate that. A lot of information, guys, a lot of information for us. So the next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. So I'm gonna need a motion for the approval of minutes from January 24th, 2023 meeting. Can I get a motion for that?
So
I'll
moved.
make a,
Oops, sorry.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have Kathy
Mhm.
and Henry to second. All in favor of the minutes being approved for January 24th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing that there are none, those minutes will stand approved. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Executive Director Summary. Ms. McGloin, I will turn it over to you.
Good morning. I am always happy to be with you. What we decided, the executive committee, a few meetings ago, was that I would take the opportunity to kind of summarize some of the things that'll come before you today. I know that it is always a lot of information, always a lot of pages. And so I wanted to be able to take an opportunity to summarize some of the things that'll come before you today. And so one of the things that stands out is that question around one-stop certification. Excellent question, Corey, as to what is the one-stop center certification and what does that look like? So basically, members of the WISP committee, which is our Workforce Strategic Planning and Innovation Committee, they come together to meet and determine whether or not we should be recertified as a center. And so that certification process took place for us March 20th through the 24th. Actually, we are kind of still in the process of it. We have one more member who will do her walkthrough of the agency and her staff interviews and things of that nature this week. And then the committee will reconvene next week to make a decision as to what that'll look like for the recertification for us. And so basically, Chair Neal appointed several individuals to serve on the committee. And basically what that entailed was going through our customer satisfaction surveys, which you guys have access to. They are on the board drive to see, are we meeting customer satisfaction? Also to walking through the center to see, are we physically and programmatically accessible as an agency? And then also looking at ways that we can improve our service to the community, our service to employers, and ways that we can just continue to thrive as an agency. And so that is our one-stop center recertification. Again, it began this week, it will finish this week, and then the committee will convene to discuss. We will present a report under Chair Neal's leadership. And then that will come to the full board at the next board meeting, which I think is in May, for you all to make a decision about the recertification of the center. So that is not something that you all have to vote on today, but I do like to provide information for you all to understand where we are and what we have going on. Something else that we talked about today is the 2019 United States DOL audit. And so basically, if you know me, you know I operate from a place of transparency. In 2019, it was a very dark time for our agency. We basically received an audit of about 24 findings in 2 areas of concern here in the agency. And it has taken us a substantial amount of time, but my team, working alongside many of you, I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you. We have finally resolved that audit. So as of February 16th, 2023, we have resolved all of our audit findings, and we have addressed both areas of concern. That is not a place we ever want to be in again, but I thank you guys for all of your work. My deputy is on this call, our Deputy Director, Cassandra Williams. She led those efforts alongside Rochelle and alongside Rebecca Wright, who led the efforts of ensuring that we resolved all of those findings and those areas of concern. One of your exhibits is the audit resolution that we received, and we are so happy because this means a positive trend for us. When we receive those report cards that we have presented to you guys in the past, one of the main things we would continuously see is us in a critical state because that audit was not resolved. And so now we are looking to trend more positively because the audit is solved. So I just want to thank my team and thank you guys for your support throughout this time, because it was not easy, but it is done and we are moving forward. So I'm very excited about that. Nothing for you to vote on, just something for you to be knowledgeable of. Something else that you all will see today, we'll talk a little bit about our one-stop operator request for quotes that we put out. That has been put out, and so basically for our one-stop services here in the center, we have to do what we call a request for quotes. And so basically that has gone out and has come down at this point. We have received proposals for that. And so basically Chair Neal has appointed a committee within the WISP committee, the Workforce Strategic Planning and Innovation Committee, to be able to review those proposals and make a decision as to who will be the provider for our one-stop operator that we have. And then currently we have our youth services request for quotes out. And so basically you all took a vote a few months back regarding our WIOA adult and dislocated worker services. Our provider is EDSI for that. They are our subrecipient. And you all decided that we will move forward with EDSI as our adult and dislocated worker service provider. However, we had to put out our WIOA youth services request for quote. And so the committee will convene once those proposals come in to make a decision as to who will provide those services for the agency. And so that went up last Friday, and I believe it comes down April the 21st. And so after April the 21st, the committee will review those proposals, convene, and make a decision as to what that looks like for us. Again, nothing for you all to vote on, just want you guys to have that information. Also, one of the things that we've tried to do better at is communicating with you all when we have RFPs or RFQs out, so you can distribute those to your networks. And that has helped us tremendously with getting the word out. We also do advertisement on social media, and then also advertisement in some of our local publications. And so that has been really helpful as we send out RFQs or RFPs. If you can distribute those to your networks, we would truly appreciate it.
Frederica, hi, this is Corey Elliott. Is it possible for you to email them to us as they come out?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So, and I know Svetlana normally sends the link to the city website because that's where they're posted. So I want to make sure that you are on the list, Corey, that you're receiving them. So yes, definitely. The last thing that you guys will see before you today, and this is a voting item. We have always operated with the selective service guidelines. However, the state has asked that we have an actual selective service registration policy in place. And so today you guys will have an opportunity. We have created one, Cassandra and her team. We have created a selective service registration policy, and you all will vote on that policy today. So that was attached to your agenda as well. Any questions that you all have? I know that's kind of fast, but do you guys have any questions? Okay.
This is Lydia. May I just make a comment?
Yes.
I'm I'm part of the committee for the one-stop certification. I did it about 4 or 5 years ago too,
Mhm.
and the 19 DOL audit. And I just can't say how proud I am, Frederica, of you and your team. The red tape in the regulations and the documentation that you all have to follow is extraordinary. Anyone on the line who has grants or Fed or state money understands the complications of actually getting it, keeping it, using it. And there's a lot of us who've been around for a long time on this call. And I'm just so proud of your team, and I'm so proud of what you're doing. And it's great to be in a position where unemployment is so low right now that we seem to be firing on all cylinders and are having a positive impact in the St. Louis city. So I just appreciate you guys, and I'm very proud of your work and your continued success. I'm really looking forward to it for the movement of labor career training in the city of St. Louis.
Thank you, Lydia. Lydia is leading the efforts again for our one-stop center certification. She led it the last time, and so Danita was able to call on her again to lead it. And Lydia has done a fantastic job. And we just thank all of you guys for your support. Our team could not have done any of this without you guys jumping in to help us figure this all out. So thank you guys so much. If no more questions, I will kick it back over to Board Chair, Ms. Danita Neal.
Thank you, Executive Director. This has really been a very informative meeting, guys. It's once again, it's a lot of information. And Ms. McGloin had just went through the consent agenda 1 through 5. And so that all that information she just given you is basically for you, your knowing, and you can review it whenever you would like. So we will go to the next thing that's on the agenda that she was saying that's gonna need to be voted on, and we'll move to vote. And I won't reiterate, are there any questions, because she asked all of that already. So in reference to the the regular agenda under the new business, the selective service registration policy, I would like to get a motion for that to be approved.
I'm sorry, Board Chair, this is Director McGlown. I think you need a vote first for the consent agenda. Yep, I think you need to entertain a motion for the consent agenda, and then we can move to the next one. I'm sorry.
Okay. Am I wrong when I say, where I see it, it said acceptance of the consent agenda recommendation none? Or am I
Yes,
looking at
but
something different?
No, you're in the right place. You'll just need to entertain a motion for the consent agenda, to accept the consent agenda.
Oh, okay. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda from, that's 1 through 5, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda numbers 1 through 5?
So moved, Stacy.
Second, Corey.
We have Miss Stacy to first that and Miss Corey to second that. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing that there are none, the consent agenda will stand. So we'll go to the regular business. The regular new business, which is the selective service registration policy.
I
Okay,
know.
it's not moving right there, and it's
I know we entertain questions regarding the selective service piece.
Thank
Can I ask the question if it's not too late?
sure, Henry.
With that, so are individuals who are already receiving services, are they going to have to validate their registration at this point?
Miss Freddie.
I will, I have an answer to that, but I will defer to Cassandra on that, because Cassandra and her compliance team work closely with that.
So persons who are already registered in programs should have already had their selective service validated, whether or
Okay.
not
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
They are registered. For the youth program, if they enter the program,
Cassandra, I
You are
think you're
breaking up.
fading out. Yep, you're breaking up.
okay.
Freddie, this is Rochelle. Can I help?
Rochelle, you can go ahead and jump in. I'm sorry, because Cassandra's fading in and out. Rochelle, did we lose you too?
Yeah, she's on mute.
Rochelle is on mute.
Yeah.
You could not hear me?
Okay, there's Cassandra. Cassandra,
So for the persons that are already registered in our WIOA program, they should have already had their selective service reviewed and validated through the
Okay.
selective service website. For youth who enter the program prior to the required age, if they're still in the program, help them to get registered.
I see. Thank you.
Thanks, Cassandra. Okay, so now we are looking to have a motion to approve this selective service registration. Can I get a motion to approve this registration policy?
I'd like to make a
moved.
motion that we
Oh.
approve the registration requirements.
Second, previous row.
Thank you. So we have a motion, all in favor for this motion, the selective service policy, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing that there are none, this will stand approved. Thank you. The next on the agenda is reports. There are none. Are there any matters from the board? Any questions or concerns from anyone? I'll just like to take this time really quick to thank everybody for joining us today. Appreciate your time, taking time out your schedule to do this for the city of St. Louis. Thank you so much. The next would be the executive has spoken. Matters from the public. Are there any matters from the public?
No, there is none.
Okay, so the next one.
Board Chair Danita, Miss Danita, I do
Uh-huh.
have a couple things for matters from the executive director. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Okay, so board members, I need your help. We currently have 3 vacancies on our board. Well, yes, we currently have 3 vacancies on our board, and we want to ensure that we stay in compliance. If you all can take some time to look at the bylaws when you get a chance to see what are the requirements to serve on the board, I would greatly appreciate that. We are looking to fill 3 vacancies. 2 of them are members. Well, one will replace Henry since Henry is retiring. John has resigned with the board, Mr. Stifler, and then also Mike LaMartina. And so if you all know anyone who would be willing to step up to the plate to serve as a board member, please let me know so I can work in tandem with Mayor Jones to get those individuals appointed. We'll vet it first and appoint it to serve as a member of the board. I would be forever grateful. So please, please, please email me and reach out to me.
Frederica, this is Lydia. Would you mind sending an email to us? Because I believe Henry is a partner and someone else was business, so that we can make sure we know which category you need someone from.
Yes. Okay. Definitely. As soon as I get off the call, Lydia, I will have Svetlana get that over to you all.
Thank you.
Also, board certification. Rochelle, if you want to speak a little bit on this and the way we'll go about making board certification easier for the board so we don't have to provide a full presentation or however you see this happening, because we do have to be certified as a board, I believe, by April 30th. I don't know if she is still here. I think she may have jumped off. And so we are going through our board certification process. As you all probably know, Svetlana has reached out to get a few things from you all, resumes, making sure we have our nomination letters and things of that nature. And so over the next few weeks, Rochelle will be reaching out as well to let you know how we'll go about the board recertification process. That's why it's really important that we have these 3 vacancies filled to ensure that we continue to be in compliance and operating. So if you guys give us a few weeks, we will get some information to you all regarding the board certification process. Also, some of the things that we're doing here in the agency outside of WIOA, I think about our discretionary grants and opportunities. We have the Summer Youth Employment Program. If you know any young people between the ages of 16 to 24 years old who live in the city of St. Louis and are looking for summer employment, please send them our way. There is a need in the Parks, Recs, and Forestry divisions of the city. And so we are taking this opportunity to recruit for those departments and pay our young people $15 an hour for up to 240 hours. We also provide them supportive services inside of that, provide them workshops that'll be beneficial to their academic, personal, and professional development. So if you know any young people, please point them in the direction of Slate. As Ms. Pittman talked about earlier, we have partnered with Metro for the Gateway Go project. And so the Gateway Go project provides an opportunity for young people who live in the city of St. Louis to receive a free pass to be able to ride the bus and the Metro link up until the end of 2024. So that is an initiative that we have here. If you know any young person who's looking for a Gateway Go pass, please send them our way. We have them here for them. Yes.
Do you have to be in the youth programs to get the pass, or
No.
Just be a city resident?
Just be a city resident.
Got it.
So
And
if they are a city
24?
resident, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that's also 16 to 24?
So the Gateway Go passes are actually 13 to 25.
Gotcha.
So if you know a young person between the ages of 13 to 25 years old that needs a free bus pass, then point them in our direction. And yes, I saw that in the comments. I will get some information to you all around that. Also, too, we have applied for funding again for the next Youth Build cycle. Youth Build is one of our programs here at Slate that services young people between the ages of 17 to 24 years old who have stopped attending high school. It helps them get their high set and a skill in the area of construction. I want to take a moment to thank Tambra Cross and her team. Tambra is the AEL provider and her teacher, Ms. Kim, is amazing. Our young people are getting high sets every single day around here. So Tambra, thank you for all that you do for our young people. We greatly appreciate you.
Yeah, can you do that? And then on your way in the morning?
It's Stacy.
Stacey, mute yourself.
You're off mute.
Yes, I'm
We can.
sorry.
And then finally, some of you have made some asks and sent me some email requests around training dollars. Our agency has seen a huge influx of individuals coming in seeking training. And so I have made a request to the Office of Workforce Development to see, can we get more training dollars? I have talked to Interim Director Carter, and she has assured me that we will get funds. I am waiting to see what that amount is, but there are so many people that come in and they want to go to CDL training, they want to go to healthcare training, tech training, and things of that nature. So we have made a request to receive more training dollars. This is a good problem to have because not so long ago, we struggled with getting people in the agency, and now we have all the people in the agency and we just need more funding to send them to training. So this is a good problem to have. And so we are working through that. And then finally on my list, we are back to doing monthly job fairs. A lot of you all have reached out to us to say, hey, I have open positions. I need to fill them. And so you all have been sending your teams down here to Slate to work with my team to table. So if you have any vacancies that you would like us to highlight, or if you would like to be present at our job fairs, we'll get that information over to you as well. And thank you to Ms. Stacy and her team at the Economic Empowerment Center with SLDC. We are partnering with them. We are in the community holding job fairs, not just behind our doors at Slate, but we are there at Sumner High School, providing those opportunities. And then also too, we have partnered with Urban Strategies. We are now in the Murphy Blair Housing Division, making sure that those who are residents of Murphy Blair are receiving our services as well. So Slate is all over the place in the city of St. Louis. And whatever it is that you need from us, I just thank you guys so much. And board chair, it's back to you.
Awesome. So we have a question from Ms. Fowler. Ms. Fowler?
Yeah, sorry about that mic thing. So Freddie, on the youth program, when does it start and when does it end? You muted.
The Summer Youth Employment Program for us is year-round, Miss Stacy. So if you have any young people that you want to start working right away, or they need to start working right away, absolutely. For Parks, Recs, and Forestry, they start middle April.
Okay.
So they start middle April. But if you all have any young people, say for instance, Miss Stacy, if you had a young person that wants to intern at SLDC, and you all serve as a work site and you would like them to start right away and they meet the eligibility criteria, that's a possibility. We can definitely do that. So we are now not just summer jobs, but we're year-round jobs.
Okay. So who do I talk to about that? Shannon or you?
You can talk to Shannon about it.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Rochelle. I couldn't unmute myself. I had to sign in and sign out and sign in again. So I just wanted to let the board know that our staff is contacting those members where we are missing a document or need a piece of paper the state requires for the certification. And we would very much appreciate when you get that email or that call that you provide that information to us. We're really almost done. We just have to fill our vacancies and just a couple of members that we're missing some documents on, and then we'll be able to submit our package to the state. So we're moving very well, but for those of you who do hear from us, please let us know and give us the paper that we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle, for that information. Okay, so that seems to be it. I would like to take this time really quick to thank Svetlana for all that she do for us. So Svetlana, this is a thank you to you. And our next meeting will be on the 23rd of May at 8:30. So if you guys are kind of log that into your calendar, that would be greatly appreciated. So if there's no more questions, we're going to adjourn the meeting. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved. This is Kathy.
And second?
Second, Corey Elliott.
Corey. So we have a first from Kathy, a second from Corey. All in favor to adjourning the meeting, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing that there are none, the meeting is adjourned. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.